But we did then think maybe you might have some questions about this, so that's what we've made our phone in about today. And we've got psychologist Emma Kenny with us.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
And we've had a lot of calls, haven't we? So obviously a lot of people with some unruly kids out there. I want to go straight to Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. So you've got a 5-year-old son.
Yes, that's right.
And you're having some problems with him at school.
Yeah, he's been quite disruptive at school. I've had to go see the teachers numerous times. I actually had one of the other parents actually stop me in the street to have a go at me about my child's behaviour.
What's he doing? What's he doing?
He's playing too rough at break times. He'd hit another child 2 or 3 occasions, and this was the child's parents that had to go at me in the street. He's been excluded from that whole friendship group, so we've seen those children going on play dates together, and he's completely excluded from that now, which is quite upsetting. He's also quite disruptive at home. He's a really poor sleeper. He goes to sleep on a night, but he gets up really early in the morning, and as soon as he gets up, he's wanting to be doing something. He's either wearing costumes or drawing or getting his...
And how's he responding to you? How's he responding to you, Sarah, when you're trying to maybe introduce a bit of discipline into his life or a bit of structure?
He's ignoring me. He says he doesn't hear me. He completely blanks me, or he goes off and just whatever he wants, or he then says, "I don't love you, mummy. You're a mean mummy," and it's just really, really hard.
What do you think, Emma?
First of all, Sarah, I'm sorry that you're getting this kind of abuse off other parents, because that's really unhelpful. However, one of the things that you said here is that your son's struggling with his sleep pattern. And what we know about children who don't get good sleep, and we're talking about 8 to 10 hours sleep a night, is they tend to be the same as an adult who's drank 4 pints of alcohol the night before, i.e. and hyperactive at the same time. So you know that you've got an issue firstly there. Secondly, one of the big things, I think, is that you've got to start to kind of be a little bit more child-focused. I don't mean that you're not being as a parent. I'm just saying you're quite anxious about the fact that school are talking to you in this way, and now you're feeling very responsible for his behaviour. Children at 5 years of age are not aware of their own self-regulation. They don't really know how to deal with emotional discourse. So very often they find a coping strategy such as shouting at people or hitting things. And unfortunately, that's what your son at the moment has learnt to do to get out of difficult emotional situations. There's something beneath that rage that actually needs to get answered. And one of the things that you suggested is that he's an excellent person when it comes down to sitting down, being focused and drawing. Is that correct?
Yeah. He wants to sit, and he likes me to sit and draw with him. But I've also got a baby as well, so it's quite hard to find the time to do that. If the baby's on my knee, the baby's pulling out the paper.
Can I ask you, when did you have your baby and when did his behaviour change?
I had his behaviour has always been quite disruptive and unruly. He's had problems at nursery when he was about 2 with biting other children, and then he grew out of that, and then he had problems when he was at nursery in terms of his behaviour. They used to put him in timeout and he would just ignore them and carry on being naughty. But then he calmed down slightly because I reduced my working hours. And then he started school a year later, and then I had the baby a month after he started school.
Right, so there's been a lot of transition for him. Firstly, from nursery to his primary education facility, and also, from your perspective, your attention's been swayed. One of the things that you said that was absolutely key is when you sit down with him and draw, he's attentive. So there is something about him needing emotionally to recognise his behaviour, whether that's good or bad. Children at that age, they don't know the difference between good and bad attention. The brain responds in completely the same way. So whilst you're seeing him as a naughty little boy, what he is a child who's struggling emotionally to find his way right now. You're feeling anxious because the school are closing you down and making you feel like actually this is your responsibility. And what we're dealing with is a 5-year-old infant who is struggling emotionally. And what the school needs to do is to actually employ some kind of strategy and support. If that means some time out with an individual teacher or a help assistant, that's fine. If he needs some cooling off strategies, that's fine. What I do over the summer holidays, really seriously, there are some great books out. Go online, look them up about teaching children of 5 years old and above emotional literacy. It teaches them words, it connects the emotion, it disputes that feeling of needing to be rageful and helps them to engage
emotional literacy.
Yeah.
OK, Sarah, that's your homework. I'm sorry to have to give that to you.